Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Terraca, what I'm calling it today, Video Game Twilight Terraca. That is because, of course, the Twilight Realm dev team has a new version of Twilight Princess Dusklight out. And honestly, they keep iterating on this thing so much, and you guys love watching the update videos. Every single time I make one, I know full well in the next week I'll probably be doing it again. But you guys love to get all of the updates. What you're seeing right now is full camera control on the mouse, which is one of the most requested features that anybody had when it came to Dusklight. And honestly, the Twilight Princess decompilation process has been actually yielding so many fun results in Dusklight, and hopefully soon Reborn as well. And this new version of the game is going to fix up a lot of bugs and crashes that were in previous versions that you guys have been commenting about in the comment section. And it's also going to allow for a lot lower powered hardware to get better performance, because I do see people trying to run this on a potato and they're getting potato results, but now maybe that potato got a little bit fresher after this update. Forget if you're involved though, to be a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, I got a Patreon link down below as well. But just so you know, right now I am playing this with full mouse controls. I am not using a controller for this particular part of the capture, which honestly is why I'm not playing as good and ran directly into that lava and have to line that jump up ever so slightly more. I am used to a controller on this one, as is everybody else, but people have wanted all of that free analog camera on a mouse, and that's something you're going to be able to do in this build. Like I said, it's going to be your mileage may vary as to whether or not you want to use it, but it was one of those feature requests that I saw in the comments all the time, so I'm sure a lot more people are going to be a lot more excited. And the best part is you can even tap on the actual screen with the mouse to select all of your different options, and then it just becomes the camera when you're out of the menu. But you leave me a comment down below and you tell me, was this something you were looking forward to or not? I feel like it is you were, because I get a lot of comments about mouse support in general. Now just so you know, as of the recording of this video, it's version 1.4.1, and I will show the updates of that in just a moment, but all of the patch notes are going to be in version 1.4.0, and this one definitely is going to be a big one, although it's not going to include the randomizer. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But you'll see here there's mobile touch controls and customization, mouse control for third-person camera, as well as mouse and touch support for in-game menus, and that is definitely going to be something that a lot of people like, because I will say, at least for screenshotting, that mouse control for the camera has been a huge benefit. If you want to just play mouse and keyboard, you can now. You'll also get native gyro and rumble support for Android as well as iOS, and I know a lot of you, at least based on the comments, are big Android users, so that will definitely be something you love. And basically you're going to be getting 4 times the improvement on the CPU bottleneck issue, so you're going to be getting better performance across Dusklight on systems that were struggling to run it. Maybe you could run it at 1080p, but maybe you wanted to go to 4K, now you might be able to do that. But of course it's just going to be dependent upon the hardware you have on whatever system you're playing this on. So don't take it as the gospel just because the performance is improved. You're going to be able to pin this thing to its highest settings on your potato and get the same results as somebody with a slightly different potato. But that kind of leads me into my question now. What system are you actually running something like Dusklight on? For my basis for my capturing and editing rig, I'm on an i9-12900K with 64GB of RAM and an NVIDIA 3080 Ti, which 3 years ago would have been absolutely a killer system, and it's still highly competent, but it's not the most modern thing in the world, but it still has more than enough horsepower probably to run something like 4 to 6 instances of Dusklight at the same time in 8K without really breaking a sweat. And that really is something fun, because this wants to go far and wide. The most amount of people possible that can play this is always going to be a good thing. So go ahead and retest your Dusklight. You should probably see a lot better performance. And like I said, if it was running fine at a certain resolution or setting, you can probably jump it up at least 1, maybe 2 notches now and get the same overall level of actual performance out of it. And that is just going to be a fundamentally nice improvement for everyone all the way around. And if you watch the channel, you see me do a lot of different videos on different texture pack options, the Henrico Magnifico 4K texture pack, the Hailstone 4K texture pack, as well as the actual Wii U textures brought into Dusklight. And everyone has their own favorite texture pack, and honestly, there really isn't a right or wrong answer as to which one is the quote-unquote best one. Whatever vibe you're vibing with is going to be the best texture pack for you. But the nice thing is, and I'll get to it after the break when I show you how to use the actual analog camera, there are going to be improvements in textures as well, allowing for different packaging of them as well as bit mapping importation. So I think you're going to see an even prettier version of Dusklight in the future. Now obviously some of those textures will have to be reworked by the developers, so it might take some time, but it is coming. But first let's get a soundtrack sample and then I'll show you how to activate the analog camera and we'll go from there. There's so much fun music, but if you actually want to use the analog camera, if you go into input, you're going to turn free camera on because by default that's going to be off, and then you can play around with a lot of the different sensitivities to kind of get what you want going on, and you can even invert the axes if you want to have it move a certain way versus the default way. But if we scroll down here, you're going to see under mouse, now you have mouse aim and mouse camera. So mouse aim means you're going to be able to aim in the game with anything that would actually have aiming with the mouse, and mouse camera is going to obviously be the mouse camera. But like I said, it talked about textures, so we're going to be able to load mip maps from DDS files. So now the texture pack authors can ship mip maps within those files rather than requiring separate ones. And that's going to be something, like I said, different developers are going to have to actually add that to their texture pack, so it's not something that is going to be an immediate improvement, but it's definitely going to be an improvement you see in the future, and that really is a lot of what this update is looking towards the future, because you know full well that Dusklight is going to be in development for a long time, and even though you can sit down and start and finish the game, there were definitely still some bugs, some crashes, and other issues which we'll go over in the next section. But I love the dedication for constantly making this thing better and better, and you're going to keep seeing that as time goes on. So as far as texture packs are concerned, those are going to be improving as well when the makers actually start importing some of those features that are now available in Dusklight version 1.4.1, and it's just going to take a game that can already look spectacular with texture packs and improve it that much more, because mip maps are one of the things that get talked about basically every single video in the comment section. Additionally, there's going to be a lot of other small features added, including being able to swap around some of your controllers to enable control LEDs. Not sure why you'd want that, but it's something you can do now, dealing with a lot of different interpolation particle fixes and a lot of other nice stuff around the edges. And honestly, the Restore Wii 1.0 glitches, restoring some of the green shoes emerging, it really does go to make this game so much closer to what it could be. And that really is kind of fun, because as good of a port as this is, and trust me, I think it is a straight up 10 out of 10 any day of the week, and a 69 out of 10 on Sunday, there's always room for improvement, and I love that the team dedicates themselves to doing this. And this has just been basically an absolute huge success. So many people have played Twilight Princess again in a modern way, and a lot of people have played Twilight Princess for the first time ever, because they just never wanted to go back to the GameCube or Wii versions of the games. And that's why I always say these ports are absolutely video game preservation, because newer generations didn't grow up with them, are absolutely going to be comfortable playing something like Dusklight, and that is amazing. But the one nice thing is a lot of the crashes have actually been fixed in the game, and that is the thing. This thing could still crash, it could still soft lock, it could still have issues if you had a very specific set of circumstances actually occur. So a lot of those have been fixed up, and honestly the funniest one has got to be that the Snow Peak Avalanche would not trigger if you disabled the native bloom, and they even put it in a notation that said, yes, you read that right. And that really is the reality of game code. Sometimes it seems like it works perfectly, but in the background it's held together with gaff tape, wood screws, and spit. It's just one of those things. Sometimes things will crash in the most hilarious ways, and until you figure it out, it is going to be a problem. So if you've encountered any crashes in the game, and they're on this list, you should be perfectly fine right now. And like I said, version 1.4.1 has been added as well after 1.4.0, so the notes are on the screen. Just grab the most recent version, and you'll have the best version of Dusklight that you can possibly get. Let's do the second soundtrack sample, just because the music in this game and in this PC port is incredible, and I'll be right back with just a little bit more information for everyone. So yeah, Twilight Princess Dusklight keeps getting better and better, and if you're wondering, again, no, the randomizer was not incorporated into version 1.4 or 1.4.1, so maybe that'll be coming next week, maybe it'll be coming next month, maybe it'll be out by the time you watch this video. I'm going to make this at least probably 24 to 48 hours in advance of actually airing it. That is why I put the randomizer section at the end of the video, so if it changed I could just leave a notation, and mostly you wouldn't even know it happened. But short of that, Twilight Princess Dusklight keeps getting better. It's going to keep getting better from here, and if you haven't tried it yet, you absolutely have to do so. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, but otherwise, I'll see you guys next time, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.